We acknowledge the traditional custodians of the ground we stand on and thank them for allowing Papa to tell stories on these glorious lands we share.
My guest on this episode of 3 Food Memories is a remarkable visual artist from Ghent, an artist who sees straight into the layers of what it means to be human. Her work, whether it in bronze, alabaster or even blood, explores the fine line between vulnerability, strength, light and shadow, and what's hidden and what can be revealed. She calls herself an all-round artist, but I might call her a sculptor of truth. She doesn't just carve form, she carves feeling. Currently in Sydney with her latest exhibition, Solitaire at the Fox Jensen Gallery, I'm thrilled to share her 3 Food Memories with you. Sofie Muller, welcome to 3 Food Memories.
Thank you.
Is this your first time to Sydney?
Yes.
How does it feel? How does it compare to home?
Completely different. Well, now it's very rainy in Belgium, very cold, and here the sun is shining. People are more open. It's really relaxing here, yes.
Your exhibition Solitaire here feels it's a quiet conversation with the self. Share what this work means to you.
Well, this exhibition especially is about difficulties in contact. And we need, of course, contact. It makes us human. We need this introduction with other people. But it is today, in these days, more and more difficult. This is what I feel in my surroundings. And yeah, it's all about that.
So in the works, there are bronze sculptures, there are pictures, and there are alabaster sculptures. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Let's look at one, for example, and tell us what you're exploring in the work.
Well, they are all different, of course, but maybe the alabaster hands are the most clear. You see hands that are try to connect, and there is a kind of taking care of, but at the same time a kind of dominance. So you can see both ways, the good way in making a very deep contact, but also the fear and the difficulties in that contact, and the dominance in a relationship. So you can see several layers in almost all the works.
What else did you discover when exploring these themes in this body of work?
What I try to do in all my work is try to find that humanity, this human condition, la condition humaine, also the struggling, the searching of a human being, and in all kind of aspects. And yes, here it's introspection also. I think with my work I invite people to find themselves as well, if you are open for it, and to try to have a connection with the sculpture. You can see also your own habits and your own way of living. And when I noticed all the other works, what I've done before, it really works. I am maybe a kind of very sensible artist that tried to show that things that is almost impossible to show. It's so human, so deeply human.
Sophie, you come from a long family continuum of art. Your parents were 16th century art dealers. What did your world feel like growing up?
It's not a normal way. I was completely different than all the others.
What made it abnormal?
We were living in a museum. Nothing was modern. Everything was old. The house was from 1641. The furniture was old. Even the kitchen was old. Everything was antique. And yes, as a child, we have seen so many churches and museums, and it was there since the beginning. It was, but it works. For me, I became an artist. My brother Bert became an architect, and then Jan took over the business, the antique business. So we had it. We eat it as young child, art from in the beginning.
At the time when you were young, living within the masters, were you appreciative, or were you just like, I just want to, I want to do what all the other kids are doing?
I was just a very creative child. I was always doing things with my hands.
So this was fertile ground, very fertile to be creative.
Yes. And but on that moment, it was not an artist. No.
What did your friends think when they came over?
They were scared. Yes. Also in my house, for example, the friends from my daughter, they think it's a ghost house. Yes, with all the sculptures and the chapel and. Now she asked me, Mom, can we do a party in the chapel for Halloween? It's the perfect setting for this kind of things. Yeah.
How does your daughter feel now living in this
She
world?
loves it.
She loves it.
She loves it. She really likes it, and she really appreciates it. And also the way she dresses, and she thinks, yes, it also affects her.
Before we move into your food memories, you wrote to me to say that first and foremost, you're not a good cook. In fact, you don't really enjoy housework at all because you'd rather spend your time in your art practice. Well, you wrote it, so it is
Yes,
correct.
it's true. Totally.
But the interesting thing for me that you wrote in that passage was that you like to lay the table.
Yes.
Where did this I would call it, and the way you wrote about it was so passionate. Where did this come from?
Yes, beauty. The napkin of the table, the flower there on the table. This, I have a family, and my aunts and a part of the family was living for some years in England, in Brittany, and it's. I think they have this way of living. They took it there, the hospitality from the English, and also. And I really, maybe more than the food itself, I like the way it's presented and the color of the napkin and the flower. All these details are extremely important for me.
How does English hospitality differ from Belgian hospitality?
Well, I think Flemish people are a bit more rough. It's different. Yeah, this English hospitality is so special, no? One of my food experiences is this English cocktail, but I love the way of living, how they, also the gardens and the flowers and the way they live. And I feel, it's a bit in us, in my family, because I think my family was for a while the aunts living in England.
So is this how the English infiltrated your life through there? They charmed you with their their fine manners and their etiquette.
Totally, yes.
So let's start with your first food memory. Your first food memory. I don't think we've ever had a cocktail before. We've had a drink. We've had a health supplement, but we've never had a cocktail. Your first food memory is Vanessa's loving cup.
Yes.
Tell me about Vanessa.
Vanessa is Vanessa Bell, and she is the sister from Virginia Woolf. And yes, I'm totally in love with these women who were extremely important because they brought a new way of living in the English society, also in contemporary art. They were feminists. They also were going for women's rights, especially, of course, Virginia Woolf. And they started a kind of group, the Bloomsbury Group, where they invited writers, philosophers, and it's so beautiful what they did. It's so important also. And especially the Vanessa, she lived in Charleston House. You have went there?
Never been.
You have to. It's one of the most beautiful places you can visit in the world. For me, it's one of the most beautiful.
What makes it so beautiful?
Because they painted on the walls, they painted on the furniture, they also made tableware and all these things. It became one big art piece. So they live in one big art piece. And now it's the Charleston Trust, you can visit it. And it's just so, they brought beauty into a life. They were also very connected to nature and the plants and the garden. but also the connection between people, all those different people that met each other. And every Thursday they have a salon where they had lectures. They also Vanessa Bell brought the modern way of painting in England. She was a pioneer for that. You know, that's the same date that we had Picasso in France. But in England, they were really starting to create a society which is extremely popular. And that I'm very lucky that my gallerist in Belgium, they stopped the gallery, Jasmine and Marie-Paul, but they are also so fond of the Bloomsbury group. So they started the Gordon Square Society, and that's a society linked to the Charleston Trust, and they bring this Belgium Antwerp group. They do evenings, lectures, all these kind of things, and I'm very happy that they asked me to bring my house in as a Bloomsbury house. So yes, it's something that really inspires me since I was young.
So let's talk about this
Cocktail.
This cocktail. Now, it really packs a punch. For 8 people, it's a bottle of champagne, half a bottle of Madeira, sort of a third of a bottle of cognac, some water, sugar, lemons, lemon balm, cucumber, and flowers to decorate.
What's very important is the flour you put in, eatable flowers. You first put everything, of course you squeeze the lemons, then you put all the alcohol except the champagne, everything just mix. You put it in the fridge for 1 hour, and then at the end you put the champagne in, you bring some flowers on, and that's Vanessa's cup.
And do you eat it with have you had it with any particular food? Or is it just a drink?
It's just a drink.
That is consumed.
It's a very important one because for several times Clive Bell, her husband, asked her for marrying her, and she refused 2 times, but the 3rd time she said yes. And then with their marriage they offered this wonderful cup, and it's something. But of course it reminds me to all the Bloomsbury and everything involved, and this wonderful Vanessa Bell, which house it's one of the most beautiful things you can find.
I do hear the voices of Virginia, Kafka and Beckett in your work. Would you agree your work resonates with the literary themes of fragility of the human condition, identity and memory?
Totally, yes. Yes.
And when you're working within your practice, when you're in your studio or when you're outside, what language are you thinking in?
Mostly it's silence, and I meditate. Being creative and working in my atelier, it's going in a flow. It's like you are in one kind of meditation. Working, it's meditating. You are meditating, and things are coming down, and you think, and but it really gives me. It's wonderful to work in my atelier. I love it. Or making drawings. It's going in a flow. It's one big meditation, yes.
And it just keeps rolling and moving. Yes. When do you know when to stop?
It depends. Sometimes there is a pause for a month, and sometimes, now I have to stop. And sometimes I make it worse, and then it's completely gone. So sometimes I go over it also. So I don't know it before. Sometimes something breaks, and then you can do 2 things, or you just put it back, or you take another piece and bring it on. And it's all about, the imperfection and the vulnerability. And it's not a big thing for me when a finger breaks or whatever, because it's just a part of life. Then you just glue it on a way, or you bring something up, you add something new, and that's the way of life.
Are you more comfortable as you're getting older? Are you more comfortable with the imperfections in the work, or has that always been there for you?
It was always, yes, I've always been there.
Do you think that's got something to do with the fact that you lived with so much old, and you had an understanding of how old things work?
Yes, of course. I saw so many antique pieces. Also the restorations in these pieces. You see several time levels in one piece sometimes. Yes, and then yes, being an extremely sensitive girl and observe the world in my way. I don't think I was a very normal. I was very on my own, a very quiet girl also, and yeah, living my way.
So if you are growing up and you are a sensitive person and observing everything, do at times, is that what pulled you in, made you become so private and, not private, made you feel so, well, kept yourself to yourself?
Yes, and especially being creative. It's a way to escape from the world. And I was also a teacher for 14 years. I was teaching painting. I did painting course and model drawing. And I also really loved it, but it really put lots of energy to spend time with people constantly. And then little by little, I start to take more time for myself. I start working with one gallery, then another gallery, and I could make a living from it. And then, so more and more I needed that time for myself. Nowadays, I don't think I can teach again because I put so much effort for myself. I'm in a way also a perfectionist. I want to do it extremely good, and I put too much time in it. So it's better to focus on my art.
Let's move on to your second food memory. Now this is an exquisite food memory, albeit you did change it on me last night at the 11th hour.
So sorry for that.
And when you did, I went into a thorough panic. But when I looked at it and when I looked at the story around it, it actually made total sense. Your second food memory is a French onion soup.
Yes, I loved it so much.
Tell me about this dish.
I remember it as a child when my mom was cooking it in the kitchen. And then first, of course, you have to make the onion in pieces, and then the crying. This is a memory. But and then yes, the caramelization of that onion with a bit of sugar and butter, and the smell. It's really a dish that you use for autumn and winter. It's very warm, gives a very good feeling. And then you have this wonderful bread, the roasted bread with the grilled cheese on it. Yes, I love it as a child.
Do you make it now?
Not so often, and very easy. Just put the onions the easy way. But of course, yes. No, but it's a wonderful dish. I really like it.
So this dish speaks to me, this French onion soup speaks to me of transformation. The space between, and again, I'm thinking about your work, the space between what breaks, which we spoke about earlier when you're working with something, it breaks, to what becomes. The dish also demands time like your work does, doesn't it? That slow transformation from sharpness to sweet. What part of this process of making a French onion soup feels most like your art? The cutting, the waiting, or that moment when it just finally softens and comes together?
All of them. The cutting, the crying, it's all in it. And then the softness, and then the waiting, the time, and then the smoothness. Yes, all of it. It's all also in my art.
I would imagine, in particular, working with stone, you are much more vulnerable. You are at the mercy of this product, aren't you?
Yes.
What relationship do you have with this medium?
Yes, I'm working in clay for a long time, but it was all statues in alabaster in my own collection that inspires me to work in stone. It's a 17th century Pieta with a beautiful pink alabaster with nerves, veins that really reminds the human skin. And it's this that gives me the inspiration to work in. And then I start doing these classes for years to do stone cutting, to find a way to bring my ideas into the flesh of alabaster.
Sophie, are you ever inspired to take a work from your collection and rework it?
Well, I do right now. I do. So. But these are not things from I collect them, and of course I never will destroy a work of an old antique sculpture. Never, I cannot do that. But if I found details, if I found a hand or a detail, an old one, I can bring it into my own work. And that's what I'm doing here. With the hands, I use antique hands, 80, 70 century old wooden hands, and I make the alabaster. So it's a combination from the past and the present, and yeah.
Does the work give you permission to do that?
These are already details, so I have no problems by using them. But of course, there are other artists who buy an extremely top sculpture and just cut it in. And of course, I cannot do it. As an antique dealer's daughter, I never can do things like that. I have so much respect for the past.
How does that change the work, the story that the work tells, when an artist comes in and cuts something?
It's very distracting. Of course, you have a very powerful work, and it's immediately, and it works for the observer, but it's an attack. For me, it's an attack that some artists are doing this, but yeah. Of course, it's a radical. It works.
And that's not your approach, is it?
It's not my approach, not at all. Not at all.
We spoke earlier about chopping up the onions, the sting of the onions and the sweetness that follows. That mirrors your own emotional language, doesn't it? It's like you have sort of the dark and then you have the light. How do you hold on to both the tears and the comfort?
Well, it's in all my work, I think. There are the tears and also the comfort and the positive and the negative and the... Yeah, it's there in the hands, also in the paintings now, in the statues. There is, both.
But they're two very strong emotions, Sofie. So how do you cradle them and get that message? How do you make them comfortable together?
Yes. For example, I will tell you something about that onion, because for me, an onion, or a leaf from a tree, I always try to see connection with the human beings. And I was crying a lot. These onions really inspired me a lot during COVID periods. On that moment, I was completely, I could not do anything. There was such a fear. What's going on? What is this? And for me, it really just, how you say it, I was completely numb. And then when things like this are happening, then sometimes it can help to try to do a ritual or to start again creating things to become comfortable again. And on that moment, my table was full of sprouted onions. Yeah, I like them. Sprouted onions, everything, vegetables that start growing, I like them. And I just put them on my table. For me, it's also beauty. It's not a flower, but it's the same. It has the same beauty in it. So all the sprouted onions, I just leave them, or sprouted potatoes. I also can bring, some celery in a vase. Why not? It's all the same. It's the beauty of nature. But that onion, all the sprouted onions, and then the fear of that moment, I said, okay, I have to do something with it. And I was reading on that moment a book when there was. When they saw an onion as a human being, with the several layers, and when you put out all the layers, you come to the core of that human being. So I said, okay, I make hearts from it. For me, this is a human being. And I put out some of the layers, and then I made inscriptions on it, positive inscriptions for me in that period of COVID. I put the inscriptions on it, which gives me a good feeling, and then pure emotion, pure intuitive, I start creating a heart in wax. And those, I made 120 during that time, we made in bronze. So I had 120 or even 130 hearts in bronze, made from an onion, a sprouted onion. And then I asked all the places in the world where I had an exhibition, also Australia, but also Mexico, Poland, Mumbai, if they want to show this and show it on the date of the 21 in spring, beginning of spring, to give it as a hopeful sign for our future. And yeah, it was wonderful. All those galleries showed it, and we sell them also. And with yeah, we planted with how you say it? We a part of the income from it went to trees. So we planted trees with this. So how fear in COVID time became a ritual thing with the onions and then returned to planting trees. This is a kind of transformation which was extremely important for me that period. And everything is there, the crying, the fear, but also the creative, the flow and the joy, everything is in it.
And we take this beautiful story all the way back to the onion soup.
Yes.
So the process of making an onion soup is not too dissimilar from the process of the bronze heart.
No, it's the same, completely. It is completely the same.
And igniting hope.
Yes, yes, it's so important.
So where do the hearts live now, these bronze hearts? You said there's 100 of them.
Yes, all around the world. Yes, everywhere. And we also planted the trees in that areas. So there was one organization and they plant trees everywhere. So, okay, these are sold there, these are, so we have planted more than 10,000 trees everywhere.
Your third food memory explores another theme of your work, that seeing isn't always about sight. Tell us about this dinner in Paris.
Yes, it's one of the worst food experience I had. You have it in France, you have it in Paris, near to Centre Pompidou, and you have one in Brussels as well, but I had it in France. It's Dans le Noir. It's a restaurant, Dans le Noir, and yeah, this is a restaurant. It's only blind people who do this. So in the beginning you come in, they take your coat, people, they are blind, they don't see you, and then they bring you in a dark space, completely dark, and from then everything is so strange. So you don't see your spoon, your knife, you don't see anything. You just have the silence and the dark. And what then happens is one of the strangest experience ever. You have to search, where is my glass? And then all the textures. When the sight is gone, all the other sentences become so extremely strong. The smell, also the noise, it became so... I was there with two friends, and that moment, for example, I hear things, or I noticed something in the laugh of this friend of mine, which I never heard before. So it's very strange how strong, then you hear and you feel, and you all those taste, the textures. One of the strangest things, for example, I was thinking that I was drinking constantly white wine. It was a fresh, cold white wine. But at the end we saw the menu and it was red wine that I was drinking.
What was it like eating the textures? I mean, because you don't have any sight, do you? You're really relying on the senses. What was happening as the food was going? Because you couldn't see it. What was happening as the food was moving into your mouth?
Yes, everything is much stronger. It's like consciousness. It's consciously, you feel everything is... Yeah, it's also a meditation, but a very deep one. I still remember the textures. I don't know what I was eating, to be honest, but it's the crushy things and then the very soft and slimy things, and it's very special.
What flavours or textures from that night still live in your body? You know, how memory can be stored in your body and you recall it? I
don't know what it was. It was a kind of crunchy thing that... and you hear it also. I don't remember the menu, but it was all so weird, completely weird. And this experience, I would say, please try. It's unbelievable. You will never forget it.
Realising your senses could mislead you, did it alter the way that you think about truth in food and art?
Yes, art can also mislead completely. Yeah? There is also this similarity. Yeah? What you see can be completely different. That's the same. It's a mirror. What you see and somebody else can see. So it can mislead also, for sure.
Did you feel vulnerable in that state of darkness?
No, because I was surrounded by wonderful people. But of course, you don't know what they bring you. They can poison you, or the man next to you. Also the smell. I remember the smell of that man next to me. So it's of course you're vulnerable if this man is doing things. You were all on one table, so that was also strange. You were also sitting with your people you like, but there were also other people next to you. So it was. Yeah, of course, it's a bit strange. It's. I have no words for it. It was the weirdest food experience ever.
Let's move on to your social cause. Now, your social cause lies in the experience as a form of healing. Tell us about your social cause. You've chosen art can heal, and it gives form to what needs to be felt.
Yes, art as a healing process. Me as a nurse, an art nurse maybe. I wanted to become a nurse when I was younger. I had a father who was a nurse and an antique dealer, a very strange combination. But for a long time I wanted to become a nurse. And in a way I also have this still, I think, taking care of people. But also, what I notice now, what my art is doing, and with all the letters I have and the stories I hear from collectors and from people that really help them to find themselves, or to some stories are very clear that I am a bit an art nurse.
So, what part of you personally, is still healing through your art?
Well, I think making art is also very therapeutic. And when it's my way, when I have questions, when I have fears, when I by making art, thinking about that, I heal myself. I heal myself constantly. My daughter is also doing it, and I'm very happy that she also has this talent. So we always can come back in our own way, and being there and then just healing ourselves with creating. And when you give this universal story, because it's a universal story, and you can help people with it, and that they can recognize, and that it's an introspection also for them, that's the most beautiful thing for me that I can do.
There is a poignant example of how your art heals in the Clear Room. Your installation at the Malta Biennale in 2024, it stirred both controversy and quiet reverence. Describe this body of work. What was it?
It was, on that moment, it was a series of 7 babies in alabaster, all different colors, because you have alabaster in all different colors, from pink to brown to black. Also body parts. It's about the makeability of a baby, the vulnerability of new life. And today, yes, we want to create that perfect baby. It's all about that. Now I hear people, when they see on an echo that a finger is missing, parents don't want that baby anymore because they want the perfect baby. And that's today, how far can we go in this quest to create that perfect baby? That was all about that. But in the situation in Malta, they immediately saw it, in their eyes, it was about abortion. It's one of the layers. It's one of the layers, but it's also so. If you put the babies in Gaza or somewhere else, you see another layer. You can see so many layers in this work, and that's the beauty of it. Where it travels, it will have a new story in the environment, also the people and the observer and the life of the observer, because. Now, also in Malta, but also in Ghent, where it was exposed, so many people start crying because it also says something about them. If you had an abortion, if you have a baby who died, or if there was someone in the family who has problems with a baby, it's all there. So it's a mirror. You can see your own life through a baby.
We have an MFK Fisher serve it forth tradition. MFK Fisher was a 20th century American food writer. And she wrote a book called Serve It Forth. The whole notion is passing forward. Our previous guest, and you would absolutely love this man, is an Australian chef called Mike McInerney, who cooks like a philosopher and thinks like a farmer.
Wow.
And he serves you boiled eggs with soldiers. Now, I don't know if you know this. This is probably an English tradition as well, no? Yes? Yep. It's boiled, soft-boiled eggs and bread, like slices of bread that has been toasted and cut up into little strips, and you dip them into the egg.
Wow.
And, of course, he would have made the bread himself because he makes everything.
Okay.
How do you feel about this boiled... Oh, and you've got to put salt on it as well. So as soon as you take the top off the egg, you sprinkle salt and then the buttered toast in. How do you feel about this dish?
It's wonderful. But an egg, it's so simple, but it's one of the most wonderful food things that exist, is an egg, because you can do so much things with it. It's so simple, but if they take off the eggs, what are we? We need them. We need those eggs. So yes, it's one of the foods we cannot miss in our diet.
What would you like to serve our next guest?
Chocolate.
What's in the
Belgian
chocolate?
chocolates. Sweet Belgian chocolates. Yeah.
Well, you'll be very pleased to know that Kate Reed of Loon, who is this most wonderful croissant maker, is coming on the show next, and she's going to do wonders with your Belgian chocolate. She'll be very much looking forward to it. Final question. Sophie, in a world obsessed with perfection, your work gives us permission to be human, which is exactly how I felt within the exhibition. What would you like people to feel when they come head on with the imperfections of your work?
Yes, I think it's important. Well, you will see the imperfections, but yes, just have it in your life and see it as a strength and not as a weakness, these imperfections. And it's important. Nobody is perfect, and it's so important to embrace those imperfections. And we are vulnerable people, so please embrace the imperfections.
Sofie Muller, big thanks for sharing your food memories with us and showing us that beauty begins in the places we try to hide the truth. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
That's it for this episode of 3 Food Memories. Be sure to share the plated love and check out our 80+ back episodes. They're still as delicious as they were when they were freshly rolled. For all things TFM, head to the socials at 3 Food Memories. For more info and to send us a message, head to 3foodmemories.com. 3 Food Memories is edited by Lauren McWhirter with original music by Russell Torrance. Nasta kalafili and bye for now.
Thank you for listening to Papa's podcast. Don't